Hi, welcome back to Dad Drinks. I am Dad, and it's Christmas. It's December. We're getting into the end game, I guess. Getting into that last week of December, Christmas and New Year's. And tonight, I'm just going to drink a Coquito, which is basically known as Puerto Rican eggnog. It's a drink from Puerto Rico. I was going to actually make it, but when you make a Coquito, you're really making like a big, huge punch kind of thing. So I just actually picked some up from Bacardi, their bottled Coquito. But if you want to make it, this is what you would do. You want to get yourself a can of evaporated milk, a can of sweetened condensed milk, and a can of cream of coconut. Throw that all in a blender. Then you're going to put a cup of white rum, a teaspoon of vanilla, a teaspoon of cinnamon, a pinch of nutmeg in it, and then just whip it up. And then it's basically going to come out looking like this. So the Coquito is basically a coconut rum based drink. That's kind of like I said earlier, kind of like eggnog. So we have our drink, and as you know here at Dad Drinks, every pour tells a story. So I just got to thinking the other day about wassailing. Like for some reason, something popped into my head about all those years ago when I was in school. We'd have to go to, and do the Christmas pageant, and you'd sing all kinds of Christmas carols. And one of them was like a wassailing we would go, and I'm like, I don't even know what wassailing is. Does anyone? So I looked it up. And wassailing actually comes from medieval Europe, and it comes from the ancient Norse, and the word that it comes from is this thing called wassail. So wassailing, wassail, which meant be healthy in ancient Norse. And what people would do is mostly wassailing back then was more around the autumn harvest, and it was around things like toasting to health and prosperity, and the hope that the apple harvest would be good so that we could make cider and all this other stuff. And then it just kind of evolved from there. And, in the late, probably 1800s, early 1900s, it was all about walking around and doing things like singing carols and going from house to house and meeting with your neighbors and wishing them vasile, wishing them to be healthy and prosperity. And then the thing that you would do is you would bring along a drink. And those drinks usually at those times were things like warm spiked apple cider or mulled wine, something like that. Now, my question is, and feel free to sound off in the comments, have you ever had anyone actually come to your house and carol? I got to tell you, I'm 56 years old, almost 57. I don't think I ever have. And it's not like we lived in rough neighborhoods or anything else when I was a kid, but I don't ever recall at any place when I was a kid, when I was a grown up, like just people just hanging out outside my house during Christmas, dressed up like, someone from Scrooged or from A Christmas Carol and singing Christmas carols. And I know I've never done it. So I don't know who does. But that's like what wassailing is all supposed to be about. Although now, one of the things I read when I was researching it was that in areas that are very big cider producing areas where they do, a lot of apple cider or spike cider or whatever, they tend to do more of this stuff and hold wassail parties in like January after the start of the year. So, hey, feel free, go out, go wassailing, bring yourself a drink. If you're down here, like in the South, it's still relatively warm. It's not as warm as it has been. It got up to like 70 yesterday, and now it's going to dive back down to the 50s. But still, it's the 50s here. And in New England or the Midwest, the upper Midwest, it's probably in the 30s or the 20s, and you're probably going to get snow. If you're doing that, you probably don't want to bring a Coquito out with you with some ice in it. Probably want to bring some warm apple cider or some mulled wine with you. But do whatever feels good. Have a Merry Christmas. We're getting to that point. Next week, we're going to talk about Christmas movies. And I have a question for you all. But for now, that's it for me for Dad Drinks for this week. And cheers. Please hit like and subscribe, and visit daddrinks.com for recipes, merchandise, and more fun stuff. Please hit like and subscribe, and visit daddrinks.com for recipes, merchandise, and more fun stuff.